Hello, everyone. We hope you're having an amazing Halloween. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as well as ring that bell notification before you get sent to a city you don't want to be a part of. A special thank you goes to our lovely patrons, Lucy Pasley, Justin Rosado, and 242 Reads. A special thank you also goes to our featured guest, who will be playing the old man in this crazy and dark tale. With that, let's get into tonight's creepy tale. To this day, I never really understood why my mother insisted that living my life meant going out with friends and hanging out with them. Personally, as an introvert, staying home on a Friday night meant more time for video games and junk food. All I truly wanted was just to feel free from all the day-to-day bullshit of the ever-popular he said, she said, fighting both verbally and physically, and other various nonsense. My girlfriend and I had grown distant because between the constant arguing and the fact that my parents and her mom couldn't understand why we were trying to make a long-distance relationship work, it was hard to build something that felt as if it would just burn to ash. It made me feel resentful of my parents, so much so that I knew if I walked out that door, the temptation to never return would be too great. My girlfriend, as great as she was, didn't want me to just run away. She wanted me to at least wait till we both finished high school and then make plans to be together. It was a nice dream, but if I'm being honest, while she continued to live in that fantasy without me, I felt that with what little was there at all, it wasn't going to last much longer. I should have ended it, but I was a chicken shit. A selfish coward who just didn't want to deal with her crying and begging for me to stay with her. It ate at me. So much so that I turned to video games that much more for an escape. Part of me wondered if this was why my mom wanted me to hang out with my sister and her friends who were in the military. I honestly didn't mind going. I just didn't want her to feel forced to take me with her just because of it being mom's oh so brilliant plan. My sister was pretty cool with it, and we went out drinking, clubbing, and partying due to military privileges. It was honestly one of the best nights of my life. It made my mom happy to see us happy, even if she had mixed feelings about us having alcohol before turning 21. I didn't go to bed until almost 5 in the morning. It was then that things went from great to terrifying. I knew I had passed out on my own bed. I was also sure that I didn't go to bed naked. However, when I woke up, I wasn't even in my house or anywhere near the street I lived on. I began to shiver violently as I started to stand up. My feet felt like they were ready to freeze off of me as I could see my breath. I looked down and noticed that I was missing my clothes and that this wasn't the concrete streets of New York. Instead, it was the cobblestone road within a tunnel. Did I get kidnapped? I said to myself as I tried to look and memorize my surroundings. The walls of the tunnel were old, dark gray bricks with dimly lit lights, and embedded with old cells for housing prisoners. It all looked like it was covered in webs, grime, and dirt. I peered into the cells and saw nothing but old cots that were kept off the ground by chains. Where the fuck am I said as I continued to walk down the tunnel, holding myself for some warmth.
I wouldn't go there if I were you.
An elderly man said as his voice echoed from behind me.
You go there, young man. You're not coming out the same. Hell, if you survive that haze.
He said as he spoke from the shadows. He slowly walked out of the shadows and into the dim light. His skin was gray and wrinkled. His dark brown hood masked most of his face, and he was small with a bit of a hunchback. What are you talking about? I said to the small man.
That is the city of nightmares. Every horrid creature, no matter how small or massive, travels there, traveler.
He said as he moved slowly to me.
I was once like you, a traveler of the mind in its many, many worlds.
He said with a gruff voice. Buddy, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I want to go home. He laughed at my remark.
You're home for sure, traveler. But if you mean that you wish to leave before you get a chance to view the city, you'll want to travel to the tower. Follow the path and do not leave it.
Why can't I just travel the same way that led me here? Wherever here is. I said as I struggled to cover myself. The man gave me some weathered and tattered clothes.
Here, it's not much, but it should help you.
Why are you helping me? I said as I hesitated to put the clothes on.
You're a traveler. Eventually, all travelers find themselves here, whether by accident or on purpose. As for me, well, I feel guilty that you're here, traveler.
I have a name, I said coldly as I put on the clothes. The clothes looked worn and dirty, yet felt like brand new store-bought clothes. It even felt warmer than whatever I was wearing before I woke up here.
Trust me, traveler. You don't want to say your name around here. Best keep that to yourself.
He turned to walk away as the lights behind him shut off on their own. The only thing left of the tunnel was pitch black darkness and the uncomfortable silence. Do you know the old saying that goes, if you stare into the abyss long enough, it will eventually stare back at you? That's exactly what I felt. A pair of massive eyes staring at me as I stared at it in fear. Old man? I said, terrified at the outcome. Its eyes narrowed as the gigantic feathered creature slowly stepped out of the darkness. The only color this winged creature had was the red glow from its eyes. I could only muster one word before I ran for it. Shit! It gave a loud, blood-curdling screech as it tried chasing me down the busy streets. I kept getting close to getting hit by cars of different models.
The hell out of the way, loser!
What the hell are you doing? Move it!
It was hard to dodge the cars as their brights were on. They ignored the giant black bird, but kept insulting. One person even threw their drink at me.
Traveler, this way!
I heard the old man shout. I ran as fast as I could in the direction of his voice, logic leaving me, and instinct being the only one by my side. The building seemed to come to life as I ran for my life. I could feel their hunger for my flesh, or perhaps They were more attracted to my fears of this hellish-looking city. The building the old man wanted me to go to looked to be some sort of church with large, heavy double doors.
Get in here!
He shouted as the bird did not let up. I jumped through the door and shouted for the old man to shut it, but he wasn't there. It was like I made him up in my mind, but I didn't have time to analyze it. The creature burst through the large, heavy doors, and the chase continued. By the miracle of God himself, I was able to narrowly escape by hiding away in what looked to be a massive library. One that I had read in books, but never had the privilege of seeing in person. I was amazed by the black spiraling staircases, vast amount of books that were kept neatly with no dust on any of them, and the very architecture itself. I would have enjoyed being here if it wasn't for the eerie atmosphere that this place gave off. My only light source seemed unable to decide if it was night or day. As I had walked around in silence in hopes of not startling the giant bird or any other nightmarish creature, I felt someone watching me. It was then that I realized that the old man never really answered my question of why I couldn't go back the way I came. Why the hell did I even travel through this God-forsaken place? All I wanted was to have fun and forget how life was cruel to me. A stepfather who consistently showed no respect or love to me, but lied about the love he had for me. A mother who always seemed too busy to do anything for me. And a toxic relationship with a girl that I once loved. Not to mention that I felt useless, like my stepfather called me. As my mind began to race, I felt myself being pulled somewhere. Naturally, I tried to resist, but I couldn't. The more I struggled, the harder that I was pulled. I was pulled until I tumbled forward onto the ground on this fancy carpet in a different hallway where it looked like I was looking at a beautiful sunset from a large office floor. Is this it? This has to be the tower. It's actually beautiful here. I jumped up and down with excitement. My life was horrible, but at least after college I could make it better. I didn't have to try surviving against evil, nightmarish creatures. I walked to what felt like victory at my very fingertips.
Traveler, no! Don't go through the door.
The old man said, "Give me one good fucking reason that I shouldn't ignore you and walk through this door," I said without facing him.
Simple.
His voice changed to something demonic. Fear ran down my spine.
Because it's not you who is worthy of leaving this place.
He said as his body quietly changed. I slowly turned around as I saw random black feathers fall.
You will not escape!
Naturally, I ran. I ran for the door immediately, but this creature with its glowing red mouth and bony legs found a way to keep up with me. Its beak consistently snapped at me as it tried to devour me. I kept slipping on the carpet and didn't think that I would make it as the hallway kept getting longer. The creature gave off a loud shriek as my hand grazed the door. I could feel its hot breath surrounding me as it was about to swallow me, but I refused to just give in. Time moved slowly as I kept pushing to get through the door. I turned the knob, and with one good push, I forced my way through the door. The old man screamed. His voice still echoes in my head as I write this. I woke up in a panic. I was scared to see what I was wearing or where I was, but I eventually did look and saw that I was home. Something compelled me to put on the news. I only read the headline, as everything else was just muffled in the background. I had hope that it was just some news article, and that the whole thing was just a dream. It read,
55-year-old man dies in a coma after failing a B&E.
A smirk crossed my face. I could only go on by a feeling that I won, and that he lost. A large cut ran across my left leg under the pants that I had worn the night before, but I didn't care. I had survived another world, one that knew true horror and had no hope of redemption, one with ghastly creatures that stared at me as I had to run for my life. I have no doubt that I will go against their kind again. After all, I'm a traveler. I've seen other worlds before this one, but the City of Nightmares stands out to me the most. Not because I had experienced anything like almost losing my life so that some old bastard could live a little longer, but because there was more to see in that world, and I had an unusual thrill course through my veins. The old man laughed in my mind and said,
We'll meet again soon, traveler.
I got out of bed and smirked. My sister asked me how I was feeling and if I had a hangover. I said no and assured her that I was okay. Just really had to hit the restroom. There was a mirror above both the kitchen sink and the restroom sink. I had to pass both to get to the toilet. Both times I saw the city in the mirror and the dead old man that was now trapped there as well. It was brief, but as I walked out of the reflection, I could feel the eyes of the next nightmarish creatures that I would be going up against, as well as the living buildings that seemed to crave fear. Was there more to the city that I wasn't aware of? I wasn't sure. As these thoughts wandered around in my mind, I got done using the restroom when I looked down to my arm. My veins turned red and black for a moment. I think the city is calling for me, but I'm not scared. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to go back there just yet.